Well, here we are in mid-November. It is November 15th, 2023. It is time for episode 17 of Wednesday Night Live. Let's go. And well, welcome into New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watsu K99. It is Wednesday Night Live. And man, oh man, I'm so glad that you've taken the time to join me here today to watch this video because we got a lot to talk about. You know, we're going to be doing a whole lot of Jets. I got my unkillable shirt on. Just when you think that the Jets are 6 feet under with the box locked, well, there's a little rumbling in the casket. It's like the lightning bolt has hit the casket. Are we actually getting teased again with the dysfunction known as the Buffalo Bills? I'm going to do a deep dive into the Bills. We're going to talk about the drama going on over there. We're going to really do a little bit more scouting than we usually do because this game is enormous. You know, I'm not going to say that the loser of this game, their playoff hopes are done. But if you want, but in an AFC now, where I think the best chance to make the playoffs is to win the division as opposed to a wild card, you got to really win those division games. You got to win those head-to-head games. And after the Jets have already beaten Buffalo once, if they could do it again, you know, you're going to have some pretty good confidence going into that Miami game on Black Friday. All right, but before we get into that, let's get to what else is going on in the world of New York sports with a little bit of 3 and out. In the sport of hockey, Henrik Lundqvist and Pierre Turgeon, I got to give Pierre Turgeon a little credit as well, a great Islander, inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this past Monday. But you know me, I got to give a little bit of extra love to Henrik Lundqvist, probably my favorite New York Ranger of all time, along with Brian Leach. You know, Lundqvist, it's a tough legacy because, you know, he is 6th all-time in wins in the NHL with 459, plus another 61 in the playoffs. You know, he has a .922 postseason save percentage. That places him 8th all time. And he's won 6 Game 7s. No other goalie can compare to that. And in those 6 Game 7 victories, he had a .961 save percentage, a 1.11 goals against, averaging barely over 1 goal against per game in a Game 7. That is unbelievable. Of course, there's that one caveat. He never got to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup. But you know what? So often, you know, he had to will teams with modest offensive abilities to new heights. So there's a whole lot I could say about Lundqvist, but the biggest thing I want to say is he was the consummate Ranger for about 15 years. And, you know, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as much as any goalie that there is. So I am proud that I got to watch his whole career. You know, he's one of those guys that you can look at and say, I'm proud that he played for my team and only my team. And in the world of sports where players are switching teams, it seems like every couple of years, if you have a great player that you could call yours that played for only your team, that's something special. And Henrik Lundqvist is definitely that New York Ranger. But with the New York Islanders, want to spend a moment on them. This is a tough stretch for them. You know, you've got fans calling for the coach's head. They want him fired. They want Lane Lambert gone. I think one of the biggest problems with the Islanders, they're just not as deep as they used to be. You know, you've got Anders Lee, their captain, off to a terrible start, 2 points in 14 games. They need to play a more defensive-focused game. I think under Lambert, they try to open up. They try to score goals more. At the end of the day, they need to play good, solid defense in front of a great goalie in Ilya Sorokin and win an ugly, boring 2-1 game. That is how the Islanders will get points. And if they stray from that, they don't have enough offensive firepower to stay with the best teams in the Metro, with the Rangers, with the Hurricanes, with the Devils. It's just not going to work. So until the Islanders' philosophy changes, they're not going to get anywhere past mediocrity in this Metropolitan Division. All right, now in baseball, I want to spend a minute on Carlos Mendoza, Mendy, the brand new manager of the New York Metropolitans. I got to say, I knew nothing of him even 3 weeks ago, but I was pleased with what I heard. As I watched his press conference, I got to say the confidence, it just radiates out of this guy. He spoke with authority, but he never came across as arrogant. And one of his quotes, he said, I understand people are saying this is a big challenge, especially for a guy that's never managed at the big league level. I understand the city of New York. I've been here for the past 6 years. I know how passionate the fan base is and the expectations they have. Just know that I understand and am ready for this challenge. I see this as a great opportunity. What that quote tells me is this is a man who knows where he's been, knows where he's going, and he knows what he's capable of. And all this experience that he has amassed over the last years, especially the last 10 years in the Yankees organization, has prepped him very well to manage the New York Mets. He's not shying away from the high expectations, which will come from the high payroll and playing it and, working in the biggest city in the country. I like that he is bilingual, which is a big deal as well. But you know what I like the most? You know what I like the most about Carlos Mendoza? He wanted the Mets job. Craig Counsell did not. He did not. And there's people concerned about the lack of experience with Mendoza. Well, I'll tell you this. 10 of the 12 postseason managers this year in baseball were in their first job. Okay, so to me, the greatest manager, the greatest coach of all time had to start someplace. So I look forward to seeing what Mendoza can do when he has to deal with scrutiny, when he has to deal with criticism about a pitching decision or pinch hitting, whatever the case may be. But I thought it was a very solid first impression. Oh, and one other thing. I've seen some people, Mets fans, criticize that Mendoza is considering bringing in Willie Randolph, the former Mets manager, as his bench coach. Mendoza has talked a lot about learning a lot from Willie Randolph, how much he's impacted him. He considers him a friend. This is what Mets fans are getting upset about, really. They're getting upset about the bench coach. The bench coach should only be the biggest problem that they face in 2024, okay? When I have a first-time major league manager, I want a bench coach with some experience. It makes sense. And Willie Randolph, unfortunately, has never had an opportunity to manage ever since he was let go very unceremoniously in 2008. So I think it would bring everything full circle. I'd really like to see it. Oh, and just before we went on the air, the New York Knicks defeat the Atlanta Hawks, which I was very happy to see. They got a win, 116-114 without R.J. Barrett in the lineup. Knicks had a very late 8-0 run in the fourth quarter to take the lead. Brunson with some very big clutch shooting. He finishes with 24 points. Julius Randle playing better and better. 29 points, 10 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson, 15 boards as well. Very, very good win by the Knicks. They are now 6-5 on the season. All right, before we get into the Jets, let's take a quick look here at the comments and let's see what is going on. David D. Oh my gosh, David D beats out Jets mess for the first post. David D getting into new territory, saying, go New York Jets. Well, what can I say, David D, except I got one thing to tell you. I do the touchdown chants, right, with the Virginia Jets fans group. It's been so long since we've done touchdown. I have to play that clip now and then to remind myself how the chant goes. It's driving me crazy. Oh, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. 36 drives, no touchdowns. Absolutely amazing. Hank G saying hi, everyone. NCV man, how you doing, man? Mike Richter, favorite goalie, another great choice. Yeah, Richter is like just a super engaging guy. Richter's like the kind of guy you want to hang out. He seems like the easiest guy to talk to. No doubt about it. Harlan Abraham, good to see you, man. Always appreciate when you're here to stop by. Yes, please hit the like button. Let's get the show out there. Let's promote it. I can post links and whatnot, but your likes, That does more than any of my sharing can ever do. Of course, super chats and super thanks are open as well. If you'd like to get that very quick acknowledgement. Billy SBC, good to see you, buddy. Let's see. Ruckert, Izzy, A-Bag, A-Candy, a bag of candy. Ah, yes. Izzy, a bag of candy. Okay, I got it. Yeah, the anaconda, the snake. Because he's very slithery. He's slithery. So I'm going to call him the anaconda. I feel like Izzy, his nickname should be the snake, just because his last name sounds so much like an anaconda. The anaconda. Brownlee this week as well. I think Brownlee will play as well. Robert Saleh did say there will be more personnel changes to come, and I don't think releasing Craig James is exactly what they were talking about. So I do think we'll have some more news coming out tomorrow. GVH, good to see you. Willie knows the city. Yes, he does. Yep, born and raised in, pretty sure in Brooklyn. Yeah, pretty sure. All right. Just take another quick check here, see if anybody else is joining in. Oh, Grandizer, always good to see you. No. You insult them just a little. You're a little out of line yourself. Jets players stock up, stock down. I think that's Samini's gimmick. Not that Samini even knows who I am anyway, but that's okay. Yeah, we could do something like that. Rookie watch. Titman's definitely up. No pressures allowed. That's the first one. Everybody else is kind of like, who knows? Yeah, everyone else is kind of treading water. Yeah, this was a rookie class that was designed to make an impact in future years, not necessarily this year. All right, Billy SBC. Let's start Roger Saffold on Sunday, please, at guard. You know what? If Saffold's ready to play, I am all for it. And we're going to get into that in a little bit because, I think we're seeing more and more. The Jets are actually stronger at tackle than they are on the interior offensive line, the way that they are right now. Man, the sooner McGovern and or Schweitzer can come back, the better it will be for sure. Well, I was going to talk about Michael Carter tonight. However, as most of you probably know by now, Arizona claimed him off waivers, so he has a new home. But I did do a whole video on Michael Carter very early. Actually, I did it last night. So if you like my thoughts on Michael Carter, you can definitely go ahead and check that video out. Saffold played 16 games for Buffalo last season. Yeah, but he was taking a lot of penalties, and his play was not subpar. It was a little bit subpar, and who knows how much he's really been in shape. You got to get in game shape here. So if it takes a little time, if it takes a couple weeks on the practice squad so that he's ready, then that's great. That's one thing with this coaching staff. They're not going to rush players in before they're ready. Now, I would think the learning curve should be a little bit less with Saffold, and if they feel he's the best option, he will play. He will definitely play. But rooted for the Mets team. If they don't win, it's a shame because the other team cheated. And I'm not. No. I only accuse the Patriots of cheating. That's really about it. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out of the old ball game. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, super chats for karaoke. Yeah, we'll go with that. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things here. We'll get into the DVOA. We'll get into the scouting report. We'll talk snap counts, all the features that we do every week. We're going to get into all of that. But I want to start with something positive here. I really, really do. About the Jets' playoff hopes. They are 4-5 right now. Do you know the last two times the Jets made the playoffs in the Rex Ryan days, the Jets were 4-5 in those seasons as well. I'm going for positivity any way I can because I will tell you, the night of that loss to the Raiders, I was ready to declare the team dead. I played taps, made no mistake about it. I played the trumpets, I played the whole thing, and I did it with no shame because the season, it's not that they were mathematically out, but what sign did we have this offense could even go to being a mediocre NFL offense? It's been 6 weeks of crap, 6 weeks of the same garbage. But then, you know what? Buffalo loses to Denver, and all of a sudden, there's new life. All of a sudden, there is new life. But let's take a look at where the Jets are. We're going to talk about a little DVOA. For the first time, I don't even have to reference the roughing the passer streak anymore. As we know, it was dashed against the Chargers. So on DVOA, we look at where the Jets are. They are 30th on offense. They went down one spot from last week. The only two teams with a lower ranked offense than the Jets are the Carolina Panthers and the New York Football Giants. Defense actually went up, +1. Yeah, up to 6th place. The only defenses ranked ahead of the Jets are Cleveland, Baltimore, Kansas City, Dallas, and Jacksonville. And the Jets passed Pittsburgh in defensive ranking. Jets remain number 1 at special teams. It'll fall off there. And then overall, they are 21st. They are down one spot over there. All right, so that's where the DVOA rankings currently stand. As far as injuries go, no serious issues in the last 2 weeks. And I guess that's why the Jets have been losing games. Because every time the Jets win a game, they have to sacrifice a player in the process. If you believe in the football gods, it's like they're saying, you could have this win. You could have this win. But to have this win, you have to give us a player, and he has to actually be a good one. Whether it's Rodgers, whether it's AVT, whether it's half our offensive line, on and on it goes. Now, earlier, the Jets did a walkthrough practice, so any injury statuses that we may have seen are just estimates for the time being. Okay? Just a couple quick chats. We'll check up on a couple things. Josh Allen hates the Jets defense. Josh Allen hates a lot of things right now, but no team frustrates him more than the Jets. It's like the Mets hitting against Spencer Strider. Who knows? It's very weird. There's certain players, they just get really good against the one team, or they really shrink in the moment against one team. Bill Cartwright against the Knicks. He always had his best games against the Knicks. It was just crazy. Grandizer, super good review on the career of Michael Carter with the Jets. This is Michael Carter OG, not Michael Carter II. Michael Carter II, Grandizer, the Dolphins fan, is the cornerback. All right. Thank you very much for the kind words. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I really got into some of the ways he was conducting himself. And, he was a guy I really liked from the beginning, but I just soured on him as time went on. And it had more to do, it wasn't just about his play on the field. Let's put it that way. And I went into some depth on various incidents that really did go down to where, what's so funny about it? And I did reference this on the video. There were quite a few Jets fans, a lot of the well-known content providers who that day were advocating for Michael Carter getting benched. They wanted him deactivated. But all of a sudden you see that he got cut, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, people couldn't believe it. People could not believe it. And I didn't expect that either. But you know what? A message had to be sent. But I'll tell you what, you know what I don't need? I don't need anybody talking about what a great presence he was in the locker room. Because what the hell has it been doing for this offense the last 6 weeks? What has it been doing? And then Izzy is meeting with the media today. The Snake is meeting with the media. And one of the Jets, who hasn't been named, Connor Hughes reported this, some random Jet says, hey, shout out your boy Mike Carter. It's just so inappropriate to do that, man. Carter is a popular Jet, nice guy, cool guy, engaging, outgoing. Great. That's all well and good. His play here's the thing. Michael Carter was imminently replaceable. Every team in the NFL has a Michael Carter, a pretty good running back who doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but can go in if you need him to. That's my thoughts. And it hurts me to say that because I really, really, really liked him. But like I said, I just soured on him. What else can I say? Now, Izzy is kind of like a raw piece of talent here. Okay, we don't know exactly what he's going to turn into, but we know he's got amazing speed. But now you got to get him the ball in space. So we'll get into that in a little more. JR Jet with the first super chat of the night. Bro, I want to thank you so much for that. One moment here. Okay. I think we're gonna do every time there's a super chat. I gotta come up with something. I gotta come up with a new sound effect. I gotta come up with something. But JR Jet says, I feel for the team. They play so hard, but there really does seem to be a curse or negative stigma they have to overcome on top of the game. And so they have to overcome the officials. We know that with some of the calls. I mean, it is, it's almost like the league really does want the Jets to not do well. I mean, the broadcasters, not that the broadcasters have anything to do with it, but you could just hear Chris Collinsworth like openly rooting, kissing Antonio Pierce's rear end again and again and again. I mean, it got to the point he had to put lotion on his ass after the game just to keep it. Oh my God, it was just ridiculous. Oh man, oh man. It's one of those things, a lot of teams though have had to overcome this. New England, Cincinnati over the years, you name it. Detroit, they've had to do it too. But at the end of the day, you can't deny talent. You can't deny a great team. You can't deny what cannot be denied. Sounds like Captain Obvious, but think about it. And the Jets, while they are definitely better, they're not that undeniable team that is like right up there with the upper echelon. They're not on the level of where Detroit has gotten to or Cincinnati has gotten to. Okay, like these teams that were habitual losers. Even, I don't want to say Cleveland. I'm not ready to go there yet, but Cleveland is kind of working their way up as well. The Jets are not there just yet. So until that happens, they're not necessarily going to get these calls. I don't know, the curse, you can say whatever it is. I mean, Jimmy Hoffa, the MetLife Stadium turf, it could be all kinds of things. Man. But you know what? If you're good enough, you eventually overcome curses. We've seen teams do it in every single sport. Dom C, the great Dom C, the king of the prospects, is here. Prince Prospect. I don't know, just for the alliteration, but no. Dom is the king of the prospects. No, nobody knows more about scouting players to me than Dom C does. So I just checked in with him on Buffalo show. Buffalo Jets fan. Dom was on with him, and I got to participate in the chat a little bit. It was really good to see the two of them hanging out together and just talking shop. Billy SBC, Izzy is bigger and faster than Carter, has his wide receiver speed as well. The one thing I'm going to tell you about this, we're going to get into Izzy a little bit more. He's not an experienced pass catcher, Billy, okay? So I don't mind the idea of lining him up as a wide receiver on occasion, but you can't do anything too crazy because he's not used to it. The best thing that he could do is get the ball and run. This is a situation, and Dom alluded to this earlier. You want to get the ball in space to this kid and let him run. Okay? That is the best thing that the Jets can do. But setting him up the middle like the Jets like to send Breece Hall is a disaster waiting to happen because, he needs a little bit of space. You give him a little bit of space, he can bust one. So let's see how they use him, and let's see how many prospects they use him for too. Not prospects, how many plays they use him for. Yep, Grandizer. I did see that they were starting to do some weekly videos. I always support my guys. I always do. Always do and always will. Absolutely. Grandizer breaking down the info, breaking down the remaining schedule. Yeah, to me, the Jets have to get to 10 wins. If you're going to have a realistic hope of getting in the playoffs, you got to go. That'd be 6-2 in these final 8 games. Is it possible? Yes, if the offense decides to is able to actually resemble something. If they can graduate from like high school level to say Division 1 AA, I would take that level of offense. Just 1 touchdown per half. Is that too much to ask? Can I get like 20 points a game? If the Jets score 20 points a game, they will win most of their games the rest of the way. Okay? They really, really can. I'm not going to go game by game here. We'll talk about some of the other AFC East teams and what's going on. But, I think especially about these next 2 games, the Buffalo and Miami games. And it's like they need to win at least 1. But I wonder if they actually really do need to win 2. They've lost 1 division game already. And the head-to-head is going to be absolutely paramount. So to me, when the Jets are probably not going to have a lot of tiebreakers in their favor, the head-to-head is going to be just so paramount. So, I'll be very happy if they beat Buffalo, but I will be super excited if they can beat Buffalo and Miami and get back above 500. And then we'll see what happens. Because, Houston's not going to be an easy game. Cleveland's not going to be an easy game at all. Atlanta's shown some signs. Washington, their offense is pretty good. And New England, need I say more than that? Okay, what would give Bill Belichick more pleasure than to win a game at home to cost the Jets a possible playoff spot? The answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing. The penalties, bro, I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. No doubt about it. Oh gosh, yeah. Billy also blames Jimmy Hoffa. See, yeah, that's the only appropriate thing to do. Grandizer bringing out a little bit of history. Grandizer likes to break out the numbers just like I do. 126 games. Jets won 58. The Bills have won 68. The Bills lead the series 68-58-0. Well, there aren't a whole heck of a lot of teams the Jets have a winning record against. Not many at all. And we will be doing some Jets versus Bills trivia a little bit later tonight. So definitely you want to stay tuned for that. Man, chat, you guys are on fire tonight. Thank you guys so much for participating. This is great. I love it when you guys get involved and talk to each other. Need a win this week from Devils Fan 06. That we definitely do. I don't know if we can escape a 3-game losing streak. I don't know if we're going to be able to overcome quite that much. JR Jet, the fan base keeps going perpetually with each mistake. Oh, the pain, not again, same old Jets, blah, blah, blah. Things are going to happen, has nothing to do with the past. You know what? Yeah, when it's been so long since we've seen the playoffs, since we've seen a division title, since we've seen a home playoff game, eventually your mind just starts to get trained that the worst things are going to happen. And when you see the same mistakes being committed week in and week out, bad play calling, penalties, on and on and on, you know what? It is the same old situation. It really, really is. And I look forward to it ending just as much as you all do. But there is a long, man, oh man. Yeah, this offense has been as bad as we've ever seen for 6 weeks, but the defense has been as good as we've ever seen as well. You know, it's like the 76 Falcons with the grit splits. They had like the top defense and the lowest ranked offense in the league. And, you know, what did they ever do? Not a whole heck of a lot. Barely made the playoffs, but never made much of an impact. But we're going to talk about the offense in a little bit and what the Jets can do to help improve that offense immediately. So we're going to get to all of that. All right. So a couple of other things with the injuries. So Will McDonald was going to be limited with the ankle. Garrett Wilson limited with the elbow. Kenny Yeboah, his practice window is now open. That's another player who can help out on special teams. And keep in mind, the Jets' top 2 special teams players on coverage, Hardy and Yeboah, have been out the last couple of weeks, and we've seen the Jets get burned in both of these losses by a special teams play. Obviously, the return by the Chargers very early in the game. But don't forget the one touchdown drive the Raiders had. It was set up by a big return that was like, 23, 24 yards, but it started in Jets territory. And then 5 plays later, boom, Michael Mayer is taking the ball away from Jordan Whitehead for what proved to be the fatal touchdown. So that was really set up by a special teams return, overlooked play in that game. And with Yeboah possibly stepping in, you have to wonder, will CJ Uzomah, I just said the name, could his time be starting to wind down, you know? And I remember when CJ was signed, a couple of us were on the air live at the time. I remember it was Nick and myself. I think 1 or 2 other guys were there too. And Nick and I basically broke the news, and we were absolutely going crazy. We were celebrating, like we just won the Super Bowl. We were so happy to get CJ Uzomah, a good tight end from a winning organization, great personality, great character, and there's no question about that. The guy's he's a great guy. He's got fantastic hair, and I got nothing else. He's almost like, you know what he kind of is? He reminds me of Bart Scott a little bit. Bart Scott was never the best player on defense. Was never really a huge impact player. He'd make tackles, but it's not like he would have sacks or make these huge impact plays or have takeaways. But he had a great character. He was their spirit, all of that. And I feel like CJ is kind of the same thing for the Jets. So I could see them getting rid of Carter, but I don't think they're going to get rid of CJ as well. So you could relegate him, you could demote him, but I don't think CJ is going to go anywhere. Because you had a Anaconda, a rookie, ready to step in. Are you going to do that with Yeboah? I mean, Yeboah has barely seen time with the offense. And, hey, you guys know him. I'm a big Zach Kuntz fan. You guys know I love my ODU players, okay? But Kuntz, to me, right now, he's just too raw. Right now, I don't think he's ready to play. And if he was, he'd be called up. He'd be promoted. He'd get activated for a game. It just hasn't happened yet. So I think it's going to be Yeboah who gets some playing time, and then you could see a situation where Uzomah starts to maybe get deactivated. I think it is very, very possible. All right, let's take another couple of, let's see if anything else is going on here in the chat. Billy, Jets win. We're second in the AFC East. Crazy but true. Yep. And the tiebreaker over the Bills. Yep. You get the head-to-head going on. You know, I am pretty amazed. I mean, I'm seeing some pundits around the NFL, like even some. I've seen like objective people, like some Bills fans who, like, there's one or two Bills podcasters who I've been listening to this week, and guys who I like, who I think are very smart. They know the league. And they're basically writing the Jets Dolphins games off as if they are automatic Miami wins. And to me, that is pretty crazy because, you know, people talk about the winning records. Miami's never beaten a team with a winning record. The Miami can't beat a team that has a really good physical defense. But the Jets can beat Miami, but the offense, as we know, it's not going to beat these kinds of teams. They got away with it against the Giants. They got away with it against Denver. They're, you know, and somehow they got away with it against Philadelphia because they have, you know, 4 takeaways. That was why that happened. Okay, they're not going to do that against these better teams. All right, Billy SBC, let's sweep the Bills and the Dolphins too. I say one game at a time. We're 1 down and we're 3 to go. Hey, gee, why don't we stop pretending we have a pass game and just run it every play like an Army offense with the Giants against us? Okay, let's flash back a little bit to last season. The Patriots figured out that the Jets were going to run and run and run. They started putting 8, 9 players in the box and daring Zach to beat them. Jets never won a game again. And let's face it, over the last couple of games, Brees has done nothing. And I'm not blaming him for this, you know, because he can't bail out the passing game by himself. But over and over, it's like Brees up the middle, 2 yard. Brees it seems like every box score for Brees Hall is 17 carries, 40 yards. Every week, 40 to 50 yards. He gets 2 to 2.5 yards a carry, and that's it. So as long as that's all you're doing, it's not going to make a difference. Now, you can get creative in the run game. I'd like to see maybe a counter here, a sweep out here. By the way, not on 3rd and 1. I swear to you, if I ever see another toss back to Brees on 3rd and 1 where he's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, I'm going to go through the TV. Nathaniel Hackett, just some of the times he calls certain plays, it's like he calls the right play, but at the wrong time sometimes. Like the Garrett Wilson pass after he gets a hurt elbow and he throws the ball basically into the stands. I think he knocked down a hot dog vendor. Oh, my gosh. Harlan Abraham, the Seahawks made the playoffs with a losing record. Then they beat the Aints in the playoffs. You know what? It's going to take I don't think it's going to happen with the wild card. Yeah, the wild card tiebreakers, it's going to be really, really hard. Leaving out the division, you've got at least 3 very good teams in the AFC North, probably 4. You know, the Browns I'm a little bit hesitant on. Let's see what DTR does at quarterback. But then you've got in the South, Jacksonville, Houston, and Indianapolis. They're still kind of in the mix. Indy's doing pretty well too. And then you got the teams in the West, 3 of whom have already beaten the Jets. So, yeah, to me, the wild card, I'm sorry. I know the Jets are 1 game back of the 7th seed, but when you factor in tiebreakers and all the teams they would have to pass, and the fact that the tiebreakers are just not in their favor, win the division. Let's win the division for the first time in 21 years? 21 years, right in there. And let's host that playoff game. Might be against a great team, but you know what? It's there for them. The Jets do control their own destiny. Can they seize it? Yes, Grandizer. Yes, the Rangers were not in the Patrick Kane sweepstakes. I might buy the jersey now. It's like $65. I don't know. Might get it now. I was always a Kane fan. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the snap counts from the last game against the Raiders. And let's talk about also how the snap counts changed from the Charger game to the Raider game. Now, on offense, the Jets had 66 snaps. That's 15 less than they had against the Chargers. So it went from 81 down to 66. So Brees Hall, running back, 46 snaps, down only 3, which tells you he had a higher percentage of the snaps. Okay? Michael Carter had only 9 snaps. He went down 16. Michael Carter, rest in peace. As far as being a Jet goes, Dalvin Cook actually went up, plus 3 snaps up to 10. And I'll get to the usage of Dalvin Cook in a couple minutes. Nick Barden, again, guys, I know I sound like a broken record when I talk about this. I know I do. But if the strength of your offense should be the running game, then why don't you, and you have a weakened offensive line, then why don't you put in a fullback to help open up a hole? I'm sorry. I want to see Barden on the field like 10 to 15 snaps a game. I really, really do. I just don't get why they use him so little. All right, tight end. Ty Conklin, 50 snaps, up 6 from the previous week. CJ Uzama, 28 snaps, down 2. Jeremy Rucker, 23 snaps, was down 4. So Uzama still had more snaps than Jeremy Rucker did. This week, I look for that to definitely change. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, 62. He was down 17. He missed the 4 when he got hurt. Alan Lazard, oh my God, 59 snaps, down 13. Xavier Gibson, up 4 snaps, had 45. Malik Taylor had 10. He was down 8. Irv Charles had 4. He was up 2. So you see a little bit of increase in usage of Xavier Gibson. Malik Taylor was not used as much. You know, isn't it amazing? Malik Taylor had 18 offensive snaps against the Chargers. I feel like I barely ever noticed him on the field. I don't know about you all, but that's kind of how I feel. And then at the offensive line, thankfully, no changes were needed there. Becton, Mitchell, Tittman, Tomlinson, and Turner played all 66. Not Turner. I'm sorry. Xavier Newman. Excuse me. Newman played all 66 snaps. So my apologies on that one. All right. Now, as far as the offensive line goes, some things have changed. The Jets were awarded Austin Deculus. They signed Austin Deculus. His nickname, I believe, is Austin Deculus. So I want to talk a little bit about Deculus, just who he is. So they released Hansel Smart to make room for him. Deculus was a 6th-round pick of the Texans back in 2022 out of LSU. He's had 38 snaps as an offensive lineman in the NFL, all as a left tackle, but he was a right tackle in college. His final year at LSU, fantastic. He allowed no sacks and just 16 pressures over 490 pass blocking snaps. That's very good. And I decided to pull up his scouting report so we could take a look at that together. So Deculus. So this is what I think it was either Bleacher, I think it was the NFL website. Durable and highly experienced, Deculus is a right tackle only prospect with good know-how, but a debilitating lack of athletic movement to get blocks executed consistently on the pro level. He uses his length effectively with active hands and good extension to keep rushers out of his frame, but securing the edge against speed will be a challenge. He's a phone booth. A phone booth is a thing you used to go into way back in the days. You like flip some dials, you like do the rotary thing around, and you'd make a call. This is going back many decades. Who lacks bend and drive at the point of attack and will struggle to find his landmarks on move blocks. He's a late rounder or undrafted free agent who can be a long shot to make a roster. So what we have here is kind of a limited prospect. Doesn't do a lot, but what he does, he can do pretty well. But it's really being a run blocker on the right side of the offensive line. And right now, to me, the Jets, they're doing okay at tackle. I'm not too worried about the Jets at tackle right now. Between Becton, I thought Max Mitchell played a good game. I feel like you really didn't notice Max Crosby all that much in the game. Let's get that out of here. And then with Dwayne Brown coming back, I feel like the depth of tackle is pretty good. I'm not that worried about it. I feel like the interior of the offensive line is a problem because, and we'll get into Xavier. Well, you know what? Let's just do this right now. Okay. I'm going to get to Newman in just one moment. So let's talk about the offense a little bit more. I want to give you one positive thing about the offense from this past week. And you know what it is? There was something positive. Third downs. The Jets went 7 for 16 on third down. So something positive actually happened. But you know the numbers. They've been screamed about everywhere. 36 straight drives for this offense, no touchdowns. 49 straight drives starting in their own territory with no touchdowns as well. That has to change. So what are some things the Jets can do to change this offense? So I'm going to pull up 4 steps to improving the Jets offense. I didn't say to make it great. I didn't say to make it good, but to at least make it better. So when we see the offense and we're just not expecting a conga dance, like 1, 2, 3, and kick, okay? So something a little bit better. Tweak the offensive line. Xavier Newman, I appreciate him stepping in. I appreciate him giving it his best. But you know what? Xavier Newman, he has to sit down. Okay, on 85 pass plays, he has given up 13 pressures and 2 sacks. That sucks. Okay, that is unacceptable. And this goes back to the comment we saw earlier from about Roger Saffold. If he's ready to go, I want him plugged in at right guard. Again, I don't know if he is, but I'm pretty confident he's not going to give up 13 pass pressures on 85 pass plays. I'm pretty confident. Pretty confident. Okay. Max Mitchell, again, he did very well at tackle, but I wonder, Mitchell did well at tackle, I feel. But do you think he would also do as well at right guard? We know he's a tackle by nature, but if you put him at guard just temporarily until Schweitzer can come back or something like that, or McGovern can come back, and then you can slide Joe Tippmann back over to guard, and do something like that. Could you go with Mitchell at guard and Brown and Becton at the tackle positions? Could you do that and be confident? It's really an interesting battle, but it's an interesting thing and something that you could really debate. But I will say this, I don't want to see Xavier Newman playing for the Jets this week, trying to stop some of the players on that Bills defensive line because they are fierce. You thought the Raiders were tough. You thought the Chargers were tough. Oh, my God. AJ Espinoza, Ed Oliver, Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd. Yikes. I don't want to see Newman trying to block any of those big boys. No. All right. Second thing to do, cater the offense to Zach Wilson rather than the other way around. I feel like we are watching Nathaniel Hackett trying to run an Aaron Rodgers offense with Zach Wilson. It's like asking a 6-year-old to take an advanced calculus test. It doesn't make sense. My gosh. So the thing with Zach Wilson, it's infuriating with him. And I didn't think by any means he was the reason they lost the game. I didn't feel like he needed to be benched during that game. I don't feel like he needs to be benched going into this game against the Bills. Zach Wilson is the first quarterback in NFL history. Here's some numbers. He is the first quarterback in NFL history to pass for 250 yards or more in back-to-back games and not have a touchdown drive. Only the Jets. So Robert Saleh talks in his press conference trying to find the positive, trying to paint trying to tell you that the landfill don't stink. He talks about moving the ball. You know what, coach? Moving the ball is nice, but I prefer to score points. That's just me. Zach Wilson has touchdowns on 2.1% of his passes. That's the lowest in NFL history for a quarterback who's attempted at least 900 passes. Now, what could you do for Zach to help it? What is he good at? I still feel like some design runs, some RPOs would work. Getting him out of the pocket a little bit can make sense at times. And if you're playing some of these young receivers who can run down the field, we know how strong of an arm Zach has. Maybe now and then you take a shot and eventually it will hit. Whether it's to Taylor, to Brownlee, to Charles, one of these young kids, maybe Garrett as well. It can happen. But I'll tell you something else. Zach Wilson, when they use play action, okay, when the Jets use play action, the Jets average 3 yards more per play when they use play action as opposed to just a standard drop back and pass. But the Jets are not even in the top 20 in play action usage. Why can't we cater the plays in a way that makes sense for Wilson? I know he's limited in what he does. He does some things absolutely terribly, but he does do a few things well. And you have to accentuate the positives and camouflage the negatives as best you can. This is when you pair a poor offensive coordinator with a limited quarterback. Then you put it behind a makeshift offensive line with limited skill position talent. And that's why this offense deteriorates into the abyss. It's all of it. And then you throw it, and we'll get into the next part of it in a moment. But you know what? I will say this. If the Jets do decide to promote Trevor Siemian this week and make him active for this game, I got no problem with it. I would do it in a situation where the Jets are on the road, like they will be this week, because the Jets don't want to have fans risking and said, "We want Trevor," or something like that. Can you even imagine MetLife Stadium screaming, "We want Trevor," or something like that? So for this game, when you're on the road, have Trevor activated just in case, because let's face it, the season's on the line these next 2 weeks. Jets drop to 4-7. You can absolutely turn the lights out because it's going to take, in my mind, 10 wins to be in legitimate contention for a playoff spot. got to go 6-2. You've had two absolutely terrible losses in a row, but especially this one to a team that you were clearly better than. You cannot let that happen again. You need to have a credible backup plan, and I would take Simeon over Boyle in that spot. But the other thing with the offense, and guys, we've been talking about it nonstop, play disciplined football. This is where we go back to the penalties. The last two games, the Jets have had 18 points and 17 penalties. Oh, 18 points, 17 penalties. I don't even know how that's possible. They have 43 penalties in 5 games, and they're still like around the fifth. Here's the crazy thing. The Jets are not even in the top 10 or top 15 for the most penalized teams in the NFL. They're really not. This was not a problem until about a month ago, about 5 weeks ago. The first 5 games, they were right down there at the bottom with penalties. What has happened? Becton, Lazard, Uzama, those are the main culprits. And it is just amazing how this is not a season-long problem. It has been a problem ever since basically week 5. That is what is so infuriating about it. And when you can't get the players to stop doing it, well, you know what? That's on the coaches. That is completely on the coaching staff when you have those penalty issues. Lack of discipline starts at the top. So that's number 3. And number 4, let your best players get the ball in big moments. So here's one stat. Nania put this one out, but it bears repeating. Breece Hall has been thrown the ball 34 times this season, 34 targets this season. Only 3 of them were on third down. Now, Breece, I think most of us would agree, is probably a top 3 pass catcher on the Jets. And they had him going off the field constantly for Michael Carter on third down. It just didn't make sense. And I think one of the advantages of Carter being cut is you have a better likelihood that you'll see Breece Hall out there on the field on third down in those big spots. And we all know it's been hammered to death how inept the Jets have been on third down this season. But I even want to talk about Dalvin Cook. I thought Dalvin Cook, he's been looking a little bit better every week. I really think that. I've been good with Dalvin Cook the last 2 weeks. But they run Cook 4 times in the game, including 3 times in a row, and then Hackett completely abandons him, and I think maybe he had one more run the rest of the game. What is with the usage of Dalvin Cook? It didn't make any sense. I just didn't get what they were doing. Keep going with Ty Conklin. 7 catches on 7 targets last week for 70 yards. Is he the best tight end in the league? No, but he is a credible pass catcher who has some speed. He hasn't had a drop this season. And when you're this low on wide receiver reliability, you got to go to your running backs. You got to go to your tight ends. You got to spread the ball around. You have to do that and get Izzy the ball in space. We don't need him running up the middle. We don't need to see him going straight up behind the center for like 2 yards and then he falls forward, for a 2-yard gain. We've seen enough of that already. We watched Frank Gore for a year do that. That was the Frank Gore special. So maybe line up Izzy as a receiver a time or 2. Now, he's not a very experienced wide receiver like we talked about, okay? He didn't play receiver much in college, but if it's a situation where he's lined out wide right, and you can set up a swing pass for him and try to give him the ball in space with some blockers in front of him, hey, you could get a big gain out of that. But does Nathaniel see that potential? Let's see how much Izzy plays. I'll be interested to see the snap count on Izzy for that game on Sunday against the Bills. All right. Well, let's go back to the snap counts. Now we're going to flip over to the defense here. So we had 64 snaps on defense. Just a quick reminder, everybody, please if you haven't already, and please share the channel with a friend. I really share the video with a friend too. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's talk about the defensive line. Quinnen Williams, 43 snaps, played about 2/3 of the snaps, up 2 from last week. Jermaine Johnson, his percentage went down a little bit, 38 snaps. That's down 4. John Franklin Myers went down a little bit too, 30 snaps. That's -6. Quentin Jefferson, -2. He had 32 snaps. Solomon Thomas went up a little bit, 23 snaps. That was +5. Bryce Huff, 32 snaps, up 4. Facing a little bit more of a, pardon me. Yep, so it was good to see Bryce get a little bit more time, but felt like I didn't notice him too much aside from the roughing the passer. Michael Clemens got a much bigger role in this game. 26 snaps, up 7 from last week. Carl Lawson back on the field, played 15 snaps, and Tanzel Smart had quite a bit of time, 18 snaps, up 8 from the previous week. Then at linebacker, Quincy Williams played all but one snap, played 63. CJ Mosley played 60. This was the first game all season where CJ did not play every single snap. Had a little bit of an injury. Salah said he could have gone back in, that it wasn't too big of a deal. So Mosley missed 4 snaps. Jamian Sherwood, 15 snaps plus 11. So Sherwood getting more time again. So the Jets going with 3 linebackers a little bit more. Focused a little bit more, I'd say, on Josh Jacobs than they were on Aiden O'Connell, which makes sense. Then in the secondary, you've got Sauce and DJ playing all 64 snaps. You got Michael Carter down to just 41 snaps, down 20. Definitely the biggest drop off on the defense. Brandon Eccles had 5 snaps. Bryce Hall got back in. He had 1 snap as well. And then with the safeties, Adams and Whitehead played all 64 snaps. And you had slight drop offs for Ashton Davis and Adrian Amos, 4 snaps each. You know, what I would say about the defense right now, I give them all the credit in the world for carrying as the water that the way that they have tried to. But I feel like by the end of the Raiders game, they were really showing some signs of giving in, that they just didn't have anything left to give anymore. And it felt a lot like last season when they were playing Detroit, when they were playing Jacksonville, and they just didn't have that much fight left in them. You know, I remember plays like Josh Jacobs. You know, the Jets had him, 2 guys on him, and he managed to push it forward for another 5 or 6 yards. Jets couldn't make the late tackle. You know, to me, I feel like the Raiders at the end of the game wanted it more than the Jets. And to me, that is inexcusable. That shows me Antonio Pierce did a better job coaching than Robert Saleh did. And that can't happen. Now, I know the defense got a fumble very late in the game. God bless them. That's great. But I am worried if this offense doesn't turn things around, that we're going to see the same exact thing like we did last year, where the defense just finally throws their hands up and realize, you know what? We're great, but we can only do so much. We can't score points for this offense. Because this is the second straight year where we're talking about something like this happening. One other stat? I'll give you another stat, guys. So when the Jets have 3 or more takeaways in a single game, they're 3-0. When they have 2 takeaways or less, they're 1-5. And that's on the Jets offense. That they are counting on the defense and the special teams, can't leave them out, to have close to perfect games. Absolutely dominant, impactful games. That's what it's taking for this team to be a decent team. A decent team. So it's just really frustrating. I hate to say that the Jets are wasting this defense, but man, oh man, the offense has got to start pulling their weight. All right. Well, I want to move on and talk a little bit about the AFC East, and we're going to spend a few minutes here on the Buffalo Bills. All right. They are going through a whole lot of turmoil right now. If ever there was a time to catch the Bills, I think this might be the time. They lost on Monday night to Denver 24-22. This was a tailor-made get-right game for Buffalo. At home, national TV, and they had 4 turnovers in this game against a bad Denver team. So on the first play of the game, James Cook fumbles on their first offensive play of the game, and Sean McDermott benches him until pretty much the first half was over. He put him back in, I think, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, and then there was never a sign of him for about 20 minutes of game time. But then later in the game, Gabe Davis, the wide receiver, he fails to reel in a catch. Now, not the first time that he's has ever done that, to say the least. So he cost his team a turnover and a chance at early points against Denver, but Davis wasn't benched. No, he's never been sent to the bench because he's failed to produce. Davis is very much a boomer bust player. He might only get 2 catches a game, but they're probably going to be for about 30 or 40 yards. Okay? And then time and time again, Dawson Knox, the tight end, he has shown unreliable hands. He has shown the ability to drop a catch in big moments. But he doesn't get disciplined. He gets a brand new contract for over $10 million a year. And let us not forget Spencer Brown, the right tackle. You know Bryce Huff is ready to take him out. Oh, Spencer Brown struggles to block turtles. He struggles to block air. Okay? McDermott has almost never held him accountable for his failure But so I just wonder about the accountability and who really is getting the blame here and how McDermott's really running this whole operation. And then on Tuesday, as we know, the Bills fire their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. Now, to me, this is a classic scapegoat firing by the Buffalo Bills. Because if you look at the numbers, the Bills offense, on the surface, the numbers are pretty good. 370 yards per game, seventh in the league. 26.2 points per game. That's eighth in the league. And if you want to get even more granular, DVOA, they're third, offensive DVOA. They're fourth in QBR. They're second and third down percentage. They're third in red zone conversions. I mean, my gosh. Let me ask you all a couple of rhetorical questions. Was it Ken Dorsey's fault that Sean McDermott was calling for an all-out blitz on 3rd and 10 when the Broncos run their own 45-yard line well out of field goal range? Was it Ken Dorsey's fault that the Bills' vaunted D on the last drive of the game, right after the Bills had taken the lead on offense, allowed Russell Wilson to drive the ball right down their throats late to put them in field goal range? Was it Ken Dorsey's fault the Buffalo Bills had 12 men on the field on that field goal attempt, allowing Denver to breathe new life after Will Lutz misses the field goal wide right? And here's another thing, guys. If there isn't 12 men on the field, are you going to tell me that Ken Dorsey isn't employed today? Think about it. If that penalty doesn't happen, is Dorsey fired right now? I don't think so. Multi-land, I think I know who that is. I was actually thinking about that. It's like maybe the Jets should hire Dorsey as a consultant. The way the Patriots would, bring in Jets like, week one, just for like a little scouting report or something like that. Maybe we could do the same with Dorsey, sign him to a 1-week deal or something like that. I'd buy that. Yeah, I'm game. I'll tell you what, guys, the Bills are in an identity crisis right now. Josh Allen's not happy about the firing at all. That Denver loss was huge, all right? Buffalo has the hardest schedule left in the league. Let's run through that Bills schedule. After the Jets game, they're at Philadelphia, at Kansas City, home against Dallas, at San Diego, New England at home, and finally at Miami. I'm getting more and more confident by the week there will not be a wild card team from the AFC East. I'm feeling it more and more by the week. I'm really feeling that confident. So the fact that Buffalo lost at home to Denver is outrageous. That they were able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory the way the Jets so often have over the years. So whoever loses this game is in a world of trouble. All right, let's talk about 5 key Bill stats. This is a new feature we've been doing for a couple weeks now. The problem is, ever since I started doing it, the Jets haven't won a game. So I'll tell you what: if the Jets lose to the Bills, then I think I might have to put a hold on doing this because I think there's bad karma when it comes to this. If you're a karma person, I don't know. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, I might have sent that. I might have sent that emoji out on Twitter earlier this week. There is a chance. I think our playoff chances went from 3% before the Bills Broncos game. It went up to 12%. So is there a chance? The answer is absolutely there is. But the Jets have to. The opportunity has been given to the Jets. Now they have to take advantage of it. So we'll see. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Bills. And this is really going to focus on the offense. Okay, because right now the defense, it's not even worth talking about right now. The Bills have a very good defense, but the offense is what we got to talk about. So the Bills, their offense, they have not scored more than 25 points since week 4. Wow. And we're coming up on what, week 10 now? Is it week 10? Yeah, 4 and 5. Oh, or it's week 11, actually. Yeah, this is a week 11, I believe. So not since week 4 have they scored 25. The Bills are not a good starting team. They're averaging 7 points per first half since week 5. Can you imagine that? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, that whole offense, a very good offensive line for the most part, and they're averaging 7 points per first half. Maybe that was one of the things that cost Ken Dorsey his job. Maybe. This is the biggest problem that they have. The Bills have 13 turnovers since week 5. That's the most in the NFL. By the way, Josh Allen is leading the NFL with the most interceptions thrown. Okay? And then 10 of Allen's interceptions. I believe Allen has 11 picks. And they have 10 of those have come on throws of 10 yards or more in the air. That's one shy of tying his career high. So Allen hasn't even been throwing a reliable deep ball. And then Stephon Diggs started the season with 5 100-yard receiving performances in his first 6 games. He was leading the league in receiving. I mean, he was absolutely dominating. He has not had a 100-yard game since. I'm willing to bet it's not happening this week. And he is coming off a season-low performance on Monday. 3 catches for 34 yards on just 5 targets. So the turnovers are the big thing with the Bills, but their best players are just not playing at their best. Allen, Cook, Diggs. It's pretty much that simple. Certain players are doing better. You have Dalton Kincaid emerging as an excellent tight end. You have Khalil Shakir. They don't use him a lot, but he is a pretty good complementary receiver. Gabe Davis, take it or leave it. I mean, he's a deep threat. He's nothing else. He's like the new version of Robbie Anderson. That's basically what he is. Okay. So the game will be at 4:25, and it's pretty much going to be national TV coverage, unless people are getting the Seahawks Rams game. Outside of that, I think it's pretty much on national TV, Jets Bills. So pretty much everybody's going to get to watch it in the country outside of the Pacific time zone. And just to spend a minute or two on both Miami and New England, Miami is on they're coming off their bye week. They're hosting the Raiders this week at 1 p.m. The Miami remaining schedule, it starts off not that bad, but it gets harder. Miami is at the Jets after the Raider game. They're at the Jets, at Washington, and you can't overlook Washington. They've been battling, but man, now all of a sudden I wish they still had those pass rushers. Home against Tennessee, home against the Jets, home against Dallas, so 3 home games in a row, at Baltimore, and home against Buffalo. So it does get harder for the Dolphins as things keep going. But when you look at some of those games, Washington, Tennessee, teams like that, it's a pretty big spot that I think the Jets, they may have to win those 2. They may have to beat Miami twice. I don't know if the Jets can afford another division loss. I really don't know. But one thing with Miami, I guess one concern I would have for them, as good as Raheem Mostert has been this year, he has 4 fumbles. That's the most of any running back in the league. Just one quick note that I don't think people are giving a whole lot of attention to. As good as Mostert's been, he does have some fumbling issues. Multiland has 5 keys. Okay. Nobody moved to Wilson says hike. I don't even think they say hike. On third down, look for the orange pole with a flag on it and run past it. That's a great idea. I think these keys are for hacking. Yeah, that one. When the quarterback throws the ball to you, it's your job to catch it or at least try. Nolte, you should have a video. You should take over the Madden franchise. You are breaking some ground here, dude. Wow. Yep. Okay. Those are 3 keys. I can't wait to see 4 and 5. This is going to be fun. All right. Oh boy. But New England, my God, the New England Patriots. I got to be honest with you, and I think I said this last week. I hope they win a couple more games because the way things are going right now, they got a great chance of getting the number 1 overall pick and getting Caleb Williams, a quarterback. They're 2-8 after losing 10-6 to Indianapolis in Germany. I will say this: at least Zach Wilson isn't Mac Jones. At least he ain't that. Okay, through 10 games, Mac Jones is 25th in QBR, 20th in completion percentage. He's thrown 10 interceptions, tied for the 2nd most in the NFL, along with Jordan Love, the great Jordan Love, who was supposed to step in just seamlessly for Aaron Rodgers, mind you. Okay, and here's the thing with Mac Jones. His interceptions happen at the worst times. It's always in the last 2 minutes. It's always in the red zone, that kind of a situation. He was sacked 5 times in the first half against Indy, and Bill O'Brien absolutely lit into him on the sideline before replacing him with Bailey Zappi. So I'll tell you what, I don't know what the Patriots are going to do at quarterback, but I hope they got a couple more wins in them because I don't need to see them finishing number 1. By the way, here's the Patriots remaining schedule. I was going to go through that. Grandizer's already got it. At the Giants, at the Chargers. I think it's at the Chargers. Giants, Chargers. Then Pittsburgh, Kansas City, at Denver, at Buffalo, and home against the Jets. So I think the Patriots still have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So in between the Giants and Steelers, they're taking on the Chargers. So that makes it 17. Thanks, Grandizer. I appreciate you, man. Don't throw to Michael Carter. Scratch that. Hopefully Josh Allen will throw to Michael Carter, the cornerback. See what I did there? Okay, good. Okay, guys. You know what? It's 11:05. Yeah, we've still got a pretty good number here in the chat. I think I've gone through all the stuff that I really needed to get through. So, yeah, you know what? If you got any thoughts, you got any questions for me, throw them out there. So, while you're getting ready to do that, I think we should play a little bit of Jet Stream. All right, it is that time of the week, and you know what the theme is going to be. I got a little Bills versus Jets trivia going on here. All right. Oh, and Nolte's got his fifth key. The clock you see on the end zone wall actually means something. Oh boy. Yep. Hey G, it's trivia time. That's right. Wake up the women and children. It's time for trivia. All right. So you all know the rules. We're gonna give you 5 minutes. All right. And then let's see if you can get it correct. All right. I will be setting the timer. And let's put the question on the screen right now. Name the 4 Bills head coaches who have also been assistant coaches or coordinators with the Jets. All right. So, of all the head coaches in Bills history, 4 of them have been assistant coaches and or coordinators with the Jets. Can you name those 4 coaches? All right, let's see what the chat has to say. Yep, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Swig of water for the working man and woman. All right, Hank G says Rex. No, it is not Rex Ryan because Rex was never an assistant coach with the Jets. He was a head coach with the Jets. So that's the key. Assistant coaches. That's what we're looking at here, not head coaches. All right. That's 1 minute down already. Yeah, that went fast. Yeah, next week. Yeah, so next week I guess I'll have to have some Jets Dolphins trivia. It's always a little bit of a challenge coming up with division team trivia because you always got to keep coming up with new questions for those. It's actually more fun to do it for the NFC teams, because you only see them once every couple of years in most cases. So it's like when we get to the Jets Washington question, or we do Jets Giants. Those are always a little bit more fun, I guess, just because it's a different team. All right, 4 head coaches in the history of the Bills who have also been assistant coaches or coordinators with the Jets. And I can tell you, we're not going back to the 1960s or 70s here. Okay. The great Johnny Jimenez is here. Good to see you, my friend. Yep, we've already had the Rex guess. Not correct. Marv Levy. No, Marv Levy was never with the Jets. I think he came over from, I want to say Frisco or Tampa, one of those teams. It was a red team, but yeah. So Nolte Lynn says Rex Parcells. No. Rex and Parcells were never assistant coaches with the Jets. Okay, so no, don't think Jets head coaches. Jets assistant coaches who've also been head coaches with Buffalo. All right, so maybe they left. They were head coaches in Buffalo, then went to the Jets as an assistant, or the other way around. You feel me? All right, good. Okay. Yeah, because if we just did head coaches, it'd be pretty easy. It's Rex, it's Parcells, and that's about it. All right. Grandizer says Bruce Coslett. Guys, okay. Bruce Coslett was a Jets head coach. All right. None of these, let me say this, none of these 4 guys have been the Jets head coach on a permanent basis. Okay. They had to have been an assistant coach at some time. Bruce Coslett was only a head coach for the Jets. The great Nick Shine is here. He is here just in time for trivia. How you doing, man? Nick, you got to help us out here. We don't have any correct answers yet. I mean, so far, I got to tell you, it's been nothing but. And after that, we had another. And one more. Non-stop buzzers, brother. All right, so we need a little bit of help here. So the 4 Bills head coaches who were assistant coaches, coordinators with the Jets, they were not head coaches for the Jets. They weren't necessarily Jets head coaches. Johnny Jimenez says Todd Bowles. Nope, Todd Bowles was never head coach of the Bills. Let me see what I could do. One is a head coach in the league somewhere right now. I will give you that. Grandizer says Rich Kotite. Rich Kotite was never a head coach for the Bills. No, afraid not, Grandizer. Is it Lee? Is it Lee Cravat? It's always Lee Cravat. That's the rule. It's always Lee Cravat. Gosh, dang, we're down to 1 minute here, guys. Come on, I know you can do it. Let me think here. How can I do this for you? All right. So there was with the Jets, there was a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator, a assistant, sort of like an assistant defensive coordinator, and I want to say this other one was an offensive. I think it's two offense, two defense coordinators who are also Bills head coaches in their careers. So think about different head coaches the Bills have had besides Marv Levy and Sean McDermott and Rex Ryan. See if that maybe that'll help a little bit. All right. Yep. So now we're making a little bit of run here. We've got Doug Marrone. Is it Doug Marrone? Sure is. Doug Marrone was an assistant with the Jets. He also says Greg Williams. Is Greg Williams the correct answer? Of course he is. So we've got two already. Marrone and Williams. There are two more. One I think is pretty gettable as the 5 minutes is up. One of them is going to be very, very difficult. One you can get, but I think it's going to be challenging. But I think you all can get it. I got faith in you guys. All right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, those are some. Yeah, never fear. Nick is here. Right. Nick is like the new Curly Norman. You know, remember back in the old days when I was doing it on the Thursday shows, and Curly Norman would always be my nemesis with the trivia. He got like 80% of the questions right. You know, and now here comes Nick. Right. RB coach Lynn, specifically Anthony Lynn. That is correct. Great. I figured that was going to be the hard one, but yes, Anthony Lynn is correct. He was an assistant with Rex, became an associate coach, and had a brief run as I think he was like the head coach for like one game with the Bills. Very, very short period of time. Wade Phillips. No, it's not Wade Phillips. It is not Pete Carroll. David D says Frank Reich. No, Frank Reich was never a coach with the Jets. Howard Stern. Yes, of course it's Howard Stern. Who else could it be? I don't even think. Yeah, Christian Hackenberg. His name. Put it this way: if I had a Shadow Realm Nulty, you'd be going there just for that name. Actually, we don't have that, but we have this. That's what you get for mentioning the name Christian Hackenberg. Leslie Frazier, Grandizer said. No, it's not Leslie Frazier. Frank Reich. Yep, we had that guess. Chuck Norris, if he wanted to, he would be. Johnny Jimenez. No, Westhoff was never with the Bills. Westhoff has only been with the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Saints. Those are the only three teams I believe that he has ever coached in the NFL. Grandizer says Charlie Sheen. All right, let's see what else I could do. All right, so this guy was a head coach for the Bills. He was also a head coach for the Cowboys at one time. And as soon as I say it, Nick Shine delivers. Is it Chan Gailey? Yes, it is. It's Chan Gailey. I don't know if the Cowboys clue gave it away, but that was it. It is Williams, Gailey, Marrone, and Lynn. For one game, he was the Bills' head coach. So that is the trivia for tonight. Nick, thank you so much for participating. You know what we're going to do? We need to do like Nick versus the chat. I think we need to go Nick head-to-head against everybody in the chat, and let's see what happens. Yeah, Nick, heck of a job, man. Heck of a job. Yeah. Johnny says he's with the Bills. What did you win? You win I don't know. You win. If I could make you some banana pudding, I would. How about that? I don't know. Yeah. So, we're asking where is Chan Gailey right now? I don't even know if he's coaching right now. Most recently, Chan Gailey was the offensive coordinator for Miami in 2020. Gailey is not there right now. He is not coaching currently. Attaboy! Yeah. There you go. All right, guys. Well, I think we're pretty much caught up. Yeah, Johnny Westhoff went to the Broncos, but we really haven't heard anything from him since. Yeah, he was like an assistant to Ben Kawika. Remember, Kawika was an assistant to Westhoff, or I think, and then Kawika I think took over for Westhoff, and now Westhoff is assisting Kawika. So I hope he's enjoying it. I hope he's enjoying Colorado, and man, hope he's happy because yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of doing this stuff was getting to talk to Mike Westhoff for a few minutes, asking him a question, and him commending me on a good question. That was one of the coolest moments I think I've ever had. Doing anything like all the journalism stuff I've done over the years. Like I was a sports writer in Chicago. For those of you who don't know, I did that for about 10 years, and then I kind of let it go because I figured it was never going to go anywhere. Figured it wasn't going to pay the bills, and I had to get into another line of work. So yeah, this is like me coming back into that sort of realm and getting to talk to Westhoff, asking him a question and him, give me a compliment on it. That was a really good feeling. That was really a really good feeling for me, no doubt about it. The great David D with the $2 super chat, $2 for Wicker Chair Repair. Great content, Watts UK. The Wicker Chair is doing just great. There is, I will say this down here in the lower, I can lift it up. There we go. If you look real close at the lower part, there's a little bit of wicker that's starting to fall through the back there. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens there. But that lower back is starting to come a little bit loose. Yeah, we got a little bit of damage to the wicker chair. Yeah, a little bit of wicker. So, but hey, it takes the wicker takes a licking, keeps on ticking. Yeah. He wins a wicker chair arm. Yeah, this chair, it's just I can't support all 180 pounds of me sometimes. What can I say? Yeah. Not as if I lean back in it or anything like that. But yeah, we actually, Nolte, I got to be honest with you. This chair doesn't have any arms. These are my arms. These are my chair arms, just like this. If I want to have arms, this is, yeah, this is, I guess the chair was made back when people didn't feel like they needed how to make their arms comfortable. I don't know. Grandizer, Adam, what years did you work in Chicago sports? 2003 to about 2013. I did it for quite a while. Yeah, I got out of college in 03, started working that winter, and did it basically for about 7 years. Took about a year and a half off and went back for 2 more years. Finally, in 2013, I left. There was just nothing else to do. There was nowhere else to grow with the recession, everything like that. A lot of people were getting laid off. Newspapers were not doing well anymore. In fact, that office I worked at has since closed. My boss actually from then is still working there. He's been employed there, same job for 20 years. He's still there, which is pretty good. But I knew guys like, ESPN guys like Adam Rittenberg. He writes a lot of college football, a lot of college sports stuff. If you know who he is, I got to work with him a little bit, so I do know him a bit. That was one of the main guys that I worked with. But for the most part, it was like college sports, that type of stuff. Mostly it was like doing the college, a little bit of high school, but primarily college, and doing a lot of statistics. One of the coolest things I got to do, I got to interview Don Beebe. Yeah, the old Bills receiver and Packers wide receiver. So he was from suburban Chicago, and he was coaching Aurora Christian High School. You all know Aurora, Illinois from Wayne's World, right? I know you know Aurora. And they were in the same conference with us, my school, Wheaton Academy, in football. So I got to interview Don after the game. Just one of the nicest, most genuine guys you'll ever want to meet, for sure. And Chad Beebe played for the Vikings. Got to watch him play a little bit before he made it in the NFL with the Vikings for a short time. So I came across some pretty cool people during that time. I really did. But the newspaper I worked at, the Daily Herald, is a suburban newspaper. So the Chicago suburbs are such a major area that was really the focus. So it was really mostly about prep sports. Do I have a hemorrhoid seat cushion? You know what? I got an extra pillow that I sit on. It's actually more for height more than comfort, I would say. But yes, so I do have a little bit of extra support for myself. The great Bob Kemp was an overnight national sports host on AM radio in Chicago. He was there around that time. No, I never knew Bob Kemp. Yeah. Extreme close up. What? We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Okay. I bring the craziness of Friday night to Wednesday nights, guys. What do you want? Yeah, I was definitely a Wayne's World fan. Yeah, for sure. Definitely enjoyed Wayne's World way back when. I convinced my mom to go watch it with me when I was like, what, 11 years old? It would have been when that movie was out. My God. Looking back, it's like, wow, this stuff was pretty stupid, but it was funny at the time, and that's good. It was fun. All right, guys. Yeah, it's 11:20. I'll stay on for a few more minutes if anybody has anything else that they want to talk about or any thoughts about Jets Bills. Of course, we will. I'll be doing my knockout pit, my not knockout picks, my confidence picks coming for the upcoming week of football. Feeling pretty sure about quite a few games, but I'll tell you, I'm pretty excited for the AFC North teams to be playing one another. Those are going to be some pretty fun games. Those will be good. And of course, I'll be doing my Jets versus Bills preview video. We'll be doing the 5 bowl predictions video, all of that. And of course, after the game, the 3 key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. So the usual 4 that we do every week during the NFL season. And yeah, reminder if y'all haven't seen the Michael Carter video that I made, definitely go check that out. And I will be doing a video. I think probably. Definitely by Friday, Friday night about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Just everybody's talking about him. If you're a baseball fan, you're going to want to check that out. Whether you're a Mets fan, whether you're a Yankees fan, because both teams are going to want him. A very, very well thought of starting pitcher, probably the jewel of the free agent class outside of Shohei Ohtani. And we're going to talk a little bit about who Yamamoto is, why he is so well regarded, what kind of a pitcher he is, just everything you'd want to know about Yamamoto. Who is he really? We're going to break that down a little bit later this week. So if you're a baseball fan, watch for that video too. One-on-one sports. I got to tell you, I don't remember that. I don't remember one-on-one. Okay. 18-10, Johnny says, we win by the leg. That is Greg. I don't think the Jets are beating Buffalo without scoring a touchdown, guys. I can't go there. No. I can't get with that. I can't get with that. The Bills will score at least 1 touchdown at home. There's no way around that. I think the Jets are going to have to put up about 20, 21 points to win this game. That's how I'm feeling at this point. But who knows? This could go very, very well for Buffalo. It could go horribly. On paper, you could say the Bills are the more talented team, and I don't think you would be wrong, but they haven't played their best game in a long time. And with the turmoil they're in right now, I don't know if they're in position to do that. Unless the defense says, hey, offense, you're screwed up. We're going to take this whole game over, and we're going to make Zach Wilson's life hell. Johnny, we need 7 field goals by Greg. Johnny, serious question, brother. Are you confident that the Jets are going to get into field goal range 7 times on the Bills' defense? Get back to me on that. Nick, always the positive one. Prediction is we kick the out of them. Let me try that again. Proud New York Jets fan Nick Shine says, my prediction, we kick the out of them. Morstead and Zerline punting and field goals all day long. All right. It could very well happen. But I got to see from this offense. I need to see an offense that resembles something of an NFL offense before I put my full trust and confidence back in this team. Is the opportunity there? It absolutely is. I don't know if I'm quite ready to hitch my wagon back to legit playoff hopes again. Losing Matt Milano, big blow for them. Yep, Trey White as well. Jordan Phillips is not supposed to play. Daquan Jones is out for this game. But you still have a very formidable defensive line with Floyd, Espinoza, Russo, Oliver. Von Miller hasn't done jack. Von Miller has done nothing this year. He is not right. No sacks. I think 2 tackles he has this year. 2 tackles and no sacks Von Miller has. So I'm really not too worried about him right now. But Bills fans are starting to get a little bit down on him. Terrell Bernard, very, very good linebacker. Dorian Williams from UCLA, who we had in every mock draft, had him going to the Jets that we did, right? Dorian Williams was like our darling. The Bills got him. He's on the injury report this week. We'll see what happens. So this is not necessarily the defense that you would expect to break out against. But stranger things have happened. The way that the NFL's gone this year, who's to say? All hopes are on Whitehead. Hey, God bless him, man. He had a heck of a game that one time. Who knows if he can do it again? But Whitehead, I think, has had a good bounce back season. I don't think he's really been getting acknowledged all that much, but I think Whitehead's played quite a bit better this year. I even think Laken Tomlinson's played better this year. Not that that's saying much because he was horrific last year. Grandizer wants some New York Rangers news. Well, Ryan Lindgren was skating today in practice, so that is very, very much a good sign. And the Rangers take on the Devils this Saturday. Yeah, Rangers have about 5 days off right now. They have a chance to heal up. Hopefully, Igor Shesterkin will be back and ready to play goal. All right, guys. All right, I'm gonna call it a night. Right now, I'm starting to get a little bit stuffed up here in the nose, so I got to go take care of that. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I had a great time with you. I hope you had a great time, too. Again, please share the channel with a friend. Hit the like button on your way out. Be sure to check out New York Sports WickerMedia. Hey, check out Proud New York Jets fans. Nick does a great job, too. And I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. See you later, everybody.